I'm Alma. Standing on the stage under the soft morning light, looking at the rows of young women in the auditorium, I feel a sense of accomplishment and relief. The banner behind me reads, "Unwritten Daughters, Empowerment Without Permission." This is the moment I've been waiting for, the culmination of my journey from a woman silenced by her family to a beacon of hope for others. But it wasn't always like this. It all started on a Christmas evening, a night that was supposed to be filled with joy and togetherness but turned into a nightmare. My family had gathered at my house, and my mother, Mrs. Thompson, was her usual dramatic self. She stood at the head of the table, holding a stack of red envelopes like a queen bestowing gifts. "A little something for everyone who's been helpful around here," she announced with a smile that was more of a sneer. My younger brother, Jake, got one first, then my sister, Lily, and even my nephew, who had spent the whole day playing video games. And then, there was me. My mother's hand hovered over the last envelope and then slowly withdrew it. "Oh, right," she said casually. "You've been so caught up in your work, Alma. You haven't really contributed much around here." Laughter filled the room, cold and cruel. Lily leaned back in her chair, smirking. "Guess you don't make the cut this year," she taunted. Those words hit me like a punch in the gut. I looked around the table at the people I had supported financially for years. I had paid for my parents' medical bills, my sister's failed business ventures, and my nephew's education. And this was how they repaid me. I forced a smile and took a sip of my wine. "You're right, Mom. I don't count," I said quietly. That night, after everyone had gone to sleep, I sat down at my laptop. I logged into all the shared accounts I had set up for my family. There were Mom's utility bills, Dad's credit card payments, and Lily's business account that she used for shopping sprees. I started deleting the automatic transfers, one by one. The sound of the keys clicking was like a symphony of liberation. At 3:17 a.m. I received the final confirmation email. All the linked accounts were disabled. I leaned back in my chair, feeling a sense of peace. I sent a message to our family group chat, "Merry Christmas." I finally understand what it means to be thankful for myself. And then I turned off my phone. When I woke up the next morning, the house was in chaos. I could hear my mother's voice from downstairs. "Alma, the cards aren't working. I can't even pay for the Christmas breakfast." I walked downstairs slowly. The smell of burnt toast filled the air. Dad was on the phone with the bank, looking panicked. Lily was pale, frantically scrolling through her phone. "What did you do?" Mom demanded, her eyes wide with anger. I poured myself a glass of orange juice and looked her in the eye. "You said I don't help around here." "So, I stopped," I replied calmly. Her face turned white. She knew this wasn't a tantrum, it was a statement of independence. Dad put down the phone and stared at me. "You can't just do this," he said. "I can," I interrupted. "Because every single one of those accounts is in my name. I created them to help you, not to be your personal ATM." Lily finally spoke up, her voice full of false bravado. "This is crazy, Alma. What kind of person does this to their family?" "The kind who's had enough of being taken for granted," I retorted. Family isn't about financing everyone else's comfort while being mocked at the dinner table. Their panic was palpable. Mom looked desperate. "But, Alma, it's just money." I smiled faintly. "Then you won't miss it." Dad pushed back his chair. "You're being childish." "No," I said quietly. "I'm being equal. For the first time in this family, I'm standing up for myself." Over the next few days, my inbox was flooded with panicked messages from my family. They were angry, confused, and desperate. But I didn't waver. I had spent years keeping records of every dollar I had given them, every promise they had broken. I attached a PDF of these records to an email and sent it to them. When Lily came to my door a few days later, her eyes were red and swollen. The arrogance was gone. "You embarrassed us," she said softly. I stepped aside and showed her the wall of thank you cards from the charity I had funded. "You embarrassed yourselves. I just stopped enabling you," I said. She looked at the cards and a look of shame crossed her face. "Mom's scared," she whispered. "She should be," I replied. Sometimes, fear is what it takes to recognize boundaries. I closed the door behind her. For the first time in a long time, I felt no guilt. Just peace. Meanwhile, I had made a silent donation to a local women's shelter in my parents' name. The shelter posted a public thank you on their social media page, and it went viral in our small town. People were praising the Thompson family for their generosity. When Mom called me that evening, her voice was trembling. "Alma, people think we did that." "You're welcome," I said simply. She tried to argue, but I cut her off. "I can, and I did. I've spent years making sure everyone else was okay while I was ignored. But no more. I don't need your approval. I just need my peace." The line went dead, and for the first time, the silence didn't hurt. It healed. A few days later, I received an email from my father. "You've proven your point. What do you want from us?" he asked. I stared at the screen for a long time. He still didn't understand. This wasn't about getting something from them, it was about breaking free. I replied, "Nothing. That's the point." Then, a call came in from Uncle Henry, the executor of Grandma Thompson's estate. "Hey, Alma. I've got something that belongs to you," he said. I was confused. "What do you mean?" He chuckled. "Your grandmother left a second trust, hidden from the rest of the family. She knew how they treated you. She said if they ever pushed you too far, this would give you a fresh start. The trust was worth $1,500,000. It was set aside for my education, business ventures, or a home. I already had a home, but Uncle Henry's words made me think. Maybe it's time you give others what you never got, he said. And that's when the idea for Unwritten Daughters was born. I spent the next few months planning and setting up the nonprofit. It would provide scholarships for women cut off by their families and emergency housing for girls escaping financial abuse. On the day of the foundation's launch, as I stood on the stage and looked out at the audience, I saw myself in their eyes. I took the microphone and began to speak. For years, I mistook endurance for love. I believed that giving endlessly meant belonging. But love isn't earned through sacrifice. It's proven through respect. Today, we're rewriting that story. You don't have to prove you deserve a seat at the table. You can build your own. The applause filled the hall, and in that sound, I heard acceptance without pain. A girl named Ava approached me after the event, tears in her eyes. "My mom kicked me out when I wanted to go to college. Your story gave me hope," she said. I placed a hand on her shoulder. "You already are on your way," I told her. Outside, I saw my family standing across the street. They looked small and uncertain. I waved, not with anger or forgiveness, but with finality. That night, as I sat by the window with my friend Ethan, watching the city lights twinkle, he said, "You did it." I smiled. We did it. Every woman who's ever been told she's too much, too small, or too inconvenient. We did this together. He looked out the window. "It feels like the end of something." I whispered, "No. This is the beginning." And in that soft silence, where guilt used to live, peace finally moved in.